What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 3 of Nick Talks Football. And today we have the official start of the offseason with today's episode. So, if you guys don't know, Seahawks won the Super Bowl last Sunday. Honestly, if you watched until the end of the last episode, I pretty much called it. I said if Seattle could get Darnold into a fairly decent rhythm, they would win the game, and their defense would come up and play big. So it's exactly what happened. But in general, guys, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode, just so y'all know. We're going to be looking at probably 30, 45 minutes, somewhere in there. Not much to talk about. There hasn't been much coach movement other than Clint Kubiak really officially taking over the reins in Vegas, but other than that, nothing else. So there's not really much to talk about. There's some small coaching moves that happened. I'm not really going to touch on them. I'm just going to touch on some stuff more with the Eagles, since that's who, I follow, and I have the most touch on the pulse of what's going on with that. So yeah, before I even get started on this, guys, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. We're trying to grow this channel as much as possible and trying to make this more of a well-known, little bit of a talk show, weekly recap kind of thing that we're doing. But yeah, let's just get into it. So, like I said, we got Super Bowl recap. Seahawks dominated. I'm pretty sure it was 29-15, something like that. Real quick, we'll just go to the NFL up. Want to make sure I got that score correct. 29-13, Seattle dominated. I mean, really, Drake May did not look good. 2 interceptions, one with the pick six, and then another turnover throughout the game. I mean, they just got to him, man. They dominated him. It's not much to say. I think New England will be back. I know there is this whole thing of, quarterbacks don't get back after losing their first Super Bowl, but I think, Jalen Hurts kind of broke that narrative at this point. I mean, in general, Seattle looked good. K9 had a tremendous game, won Super Bowl MVP, first time since Terrell Davis did it in 98. But I mean, Darnold didn't have to do much. He went out, had himself a pretty solid game, did what he had to do. He was the game manager, and it's really all you can ask for. Honestly, it was sloppy on both ends. It really was, and I would have loved to see Jason Myers win, Super Bowl MVP. Dude had basically all the points, but I do want to start off by saying congratulations, Seattle. Welcome back to the Super Bowl winning club at this point. Welcome back. You guys hell of a team. It was a great team that Seattle put out there this year. I have a lot of respect for them. They have a great young defense. Their offense is looking good. I'm going to be really interested to see how Darnold's going to come next year. I mean, is this going to be like, a Nick Foles-esque run where when you don't really expect much from him, especially in the playoffs, he's going to succeed very highly. But when you do have expectations, is that when things are going to go downhill a little bit? So I will be very interested to see what happens with all of that. But I mean, other than that, guys, yeah, that's kind of it. Halftime show, Bad Bunny did a great job. I feel like there was a lot that was going on in the halftime show, but they did a really good job. Lady Gaga came out, Ricky Martin came out, so it was a hell of a halftime show. I don't understand Bad Bunny's lyrics because I do not speak Spanish, nor do I have a very strong understanding of Spanish. However, music vibes, the music is a vibe. It's fun, it's upbeat, it's, it gives good vibes, so there's no reason to hate on it from my end. And I feel like if you're, nope, you're just hating from outside of the club because you can't even get in. You're not part of the cool kids club with liking it. So, yeah. That's kind of where we are sitting with all of that. But yeah, that's going to kind of do it. Let's kind of get into some things overall with some coaching. So before we get into the Eagles stuff, actually both of these things are going to be Eagles things. We'll get into the one that doesn't directly affect the Eagles. Kevin Patullo is no longer in the damn building in Philadelphia. He no longer has an office in the NovaCare complex. He is moving on to Miami to become their pass game coordinator, the position that he held with Philadelphia before it all kind of, before he became the OC. Was a lot of his success due to the offensive play callers that were there? Because you think 2 of the best years were under Steichen and Kellen Moore. Brian Johnson's pass game wasn't terrible. However, yeah, I mean, it wasn't anything fun, but Kevin Patullo is going to be taking over Miami as their pass game coordinator. I'll be interested to see what happens when it comes to him not being necessarily involved with a good offensive mind, to kind of see how things work with KP with that. Mm. This is not a plug, but it would be awesome. You guys have ever had a Ghost Energy drink? My God, these things are amazing. The Welch's Grape, arguably my favorite energy drink of all time, tastes like carbonated grape juice. It is amazing. Mm. Mm. Oh, that's good stuff. That's real good stuff. All right, let's get into the Eagles. The motion of business for the Eagles. So, obviously, we're still looking for a quarterbacks coach. There's a bunch of different names that are being floated around with QB coach and stuff like that. Eagles have hired Vikings former O-line coach Chris Cooper as their offensive line coach, and Cole Peterson will be returning as the assistant head coach. So, the good thing is I don't know Cole Peterson's name very well. So that means that he does a pretty damn good job at what he's doing. The former Vikings offensive line coach Chris Cooper, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's an interesting one because so many Eagles fans are upset because Minnesota has had such a bad offensive line the past couple of seasons. However, you have to look at it like this. What has, this year, our offensive line was horrible. I mean, just horrible, horrendous. Arguably the worst one in Stoutland's tenure. Do I still like the decision of Stoutland not being here come next year? No, not at all. Do I put partial blame on Sirianni and Patullo for driving him out? Absolutely. This is arguably the best coach in the offensive line coach in the history of the NFL. He was a tremendous run game coordinator, and you guys did not want to listen to him because you were too fucking stubborn to go out there and just make different decisions. Listening to a guy that helped orchestrate a 2,000-yard rushing season with Saquon Barkley, helped make DeAndre Swift, Miles Sanders, and Kenneth Gainwell all look like phenomenal running backs. So you're truly sitting there and you're telling me that guy did not deserve to be listened to? Absolutely, he did. Give me 1 second. He deserved to be listened to. And the fact that you didn't listen to him and you demoted him instead of demoting Kevin Patullo and maybe giving Scott Loeffler the opportunity to be our play caller, it's malpractice. It's absolute malpractice. Do I feel that part of it comes from the fact that Mannion maybe wanted his own guys in there? Absolutely. Yeah, I can see that. However, I feel like someone like Stoutland, a veteran in this shit, 13 years in this shit, mind you, um, he would have helped. He definitely would have helped. And I feel like Mannion definitely would have listened. So, bringing in the Vikings offensive line coach, a lot of Eagles fans are like, well, we need to get a better offensive line coach. Hey, I hate to tell y'all this. Great offensive line coaches don't fucking grow on trees. Yes, when it came out, was I the first person to be like, we should bring in Jason Kelce? Absolutely. Absolutely. I was like, Jason should be the heir apparent to Stoutland. I figured Stoutland will work with us until he retired. Is he retiring? Maybe. But we'll have to see. There's a possibility that the O-line coach doesn't work out after this year. However, our offense looks explosive. Nick Sirianni gets canned, there is that possibility because apparently there was a lot of tension and the possibility that Sirianni was going to get fired at the deadline last year or at our bye week last year. And then once everything goes back around, maybe Stoutland comes back with the new regime. Howie and Jeff reach, talk to Mannion. Mannion's like, yeah, let's bring him. Like, Mannion gets promoted to head coach, Grizzard up to OC. Um, and then we bring back Stout as our offensive. There is that possibility, man. There really is. Does it change the fact that Stout's not there this year? No, it doesn't. Does it suck that Stout's not there this year? Yes, it does because the man literally, I mean, he embodied what Philadelphia was. He was a tremendous offensive line coach, one of arguably the best position coaches that the NFL has ever seen. Um, and I mean, really, it's the third offensive line coach that we've had since the 90s. So that shows you tenure, right there. And Stout's the longest tenured one out of all of them. I'm gonna miss Stout as our offensive line coach because don't get me wrong, as much as you don't hear Stout's name much, knowing that veteran presence, that old head, that hard ass, whatever you want to call him. I mean, hell, I even have a sweatshirt from his foundation because I'm a former offensive lineman. I was an offensive lineman in high school, and I was also a defensive lineman in high school. So, um, I'm happy we didn't lose Clint Hurt because God, if we would have lost Clint Hurt, I would have been so upset because I think Hurt is the next DC for us. Um, but no, I think that losing Stoutland is going to have a bigger impact than what people realize. But also, I feel like having an offensive coordinator that potentially could step up and become a head coach if anything happens with Sirianni. Because yeah, I really do feel like one of two things are either going to happen. Sirianni is going to butt heads big time with oh my god, I'm blanking on his fucking name. With Mannion, or the offense is going to look phenomenal again this year. Jalen Hurts is going to take another massive leap, and Yanni's going to get fired, and Mannion's going to get promoted to head coach. Which, I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't be upset about that because my biggest thing with Sirianni is the fact that he doesn't call plays. So yeah, I'm kind of I would be okay with that. However, you just don't fire a head coach that has one of the best winning percentages in the NFL, has been to 2 Super Bowls. Granted, a lot of that comes off of the backs of his coordinators. So yeah. With that being said, the combine is coming up. They did announce everybody who will be invited to the combine. I'm really looking forward to watching it, or at least getting glimpses, looking at my draft risers, the fallers. I said it last year when I was slightly doing this podcast that I loved Nicky Minwori and I thought he was going to be a steal in the draft. And I was fucking right. I said when I saw Nicky Minwori's combine, I was like, this dude is a fucking animal, dude. He's like DK Metcalf on the defensive side. This was before Seattle, like when Seattle drafted him, this was before Seattle traded DK. So I was like, dude, how you're gonna have DK on one side and you're gonna have Nicky Minwori on the other. I mean, that would just be disgusting. And I mean just disgusting. But no, I mean, Nicky Minwori was a big draft riser for me. Um, I thought Bashal Tutin was going to get more run, but because he went to Jacksonville and he was kind of buried on their depth chart, yeah, that kind of didn't happen. I did like Bashal Tutin a lot, though. Trying to think, was there anybody else? I don't think so. But yeah, we'll obviously end up getting into that. A couple guys that I'm looking forward to kind of seeing. Jermon McCoy from Tennessee. I know he's a potential Eagles pick. If he falls or how he makes a move, I want to see what Kenyon Sadiq looks like because I think Kenyon Sadiq is going to be. It's kind of like my big push right now for who I think we should draft. Dylan Thieneman is another one, unless we move up and get Caleb Downs, which I highly doubt that's going to happen. But yeah, I mean, Dylan Thieneman's my other guy that I'm really looking forward to. Jennings Dunker, I want to see how he performs at the combine if he got invited. I didn't necessarily see who all got invited. I just know that Jennings Dunker was a monster at the Senior Bowl. And I would love him on the offensive line for the Eagles. I just think you put him next to Lane Johnson, let him learn from Lane, have him play guard for us. Oh my God, dude. He's a big Iowa boy, so you know he's going to be good. I mean, death, taxes, and Big Ten offensive linemen just working out, especially from Iowa and Wisco, are just are your two best things. Um, so a couple of things that I want from the Eagles this offseason. I would love to see us, obviously go out and either trade for Kyle Pitts. I've been on the Kyle Pitts to Philadelphia train for a while now, to be completely honest with you. I have been on the Pitsy train for a while. Bringing him home, he's from he's from a little bit outside of Philadelphia in the suburbs. Went to Archbishop Wood High School. Tremendous player. Um, I'd like to see us, possibly pick up another guard if we don't go after Jennings Dunker, who honestly right now Jennings Dunker is my draft crush for this year. I think he is gonna fucking be an animal in the pros, and I think going to Philadelphia will be all what he needs to do. I mean, great offensive line there to kind of help build. But we really have to see. We have to see what happens with Lane and Landon, because that'll kind of all make everything look a little bit different. I don't think AJ is getting traded. I think those beefs have been squashed at this point. From what he was saying on Micah Parsons' podcast, he's not going anywhere. And anyone who says that he's going anywhere, either you have negative ball knowledge or you're listening to too many media reports of people that just like to talk shit about Philadelphia, about the Eagles. So, yeah. There's something else I was gonna say. But yeah, we have to kind of see what all happens, what complete holes we have on the offense at this point. When it comes to our free agents, so we have Jalen Phillips, N'Kobe Dean, Jahan Dotson, Braden Mann, Fred Johnson, Reed Blankenship, Grant Calcaterra, AJ Dillon, Marcus Epps, Dallas Goddard, Kyron Grayson, Sam Howell, Dory Jackson, BJ Ojolari, Uncle Ronquo, Matt Pryor, Brett Toth, and Josh Uche. Out of all of those free agents for this upcoming year, the guys that I really want us to bring back the most is Phillips, Dean, Dotson, Mann, and Fred Johnson. You're probably wondering to yourself, why don't I want Reed Blankenship back? Why don't I want Goddard back? Both of those positions are replaceable in the draft this year. Both of them are. And it's that simple. Reed is good. Don't get me wrong. He's going to make those handful of splash plays throughout the year. And I love Reed. Don't get me wrong. Undrafted free agent out of Middle Tennessee State. I love Reed Blankenship. I really do. He's just not a game changer, man. And I mean, he looked bad in coverage this year at times, and I just don't think it's worth bringing him back. Kind of with Dallas Goddard. I mean, yes, he just set the single season touchdown record for tight ends. But he is 30, and he has been getting injured over the past couple of years. So right around this time is when we moved on from Zach Ertz. To be completely honest with you, I would not be against us moving away from Goddard at this point. Getting somebody younger in the draft. That's why I'm a huge fan of getting Kenyon Sadiq. Do I think that happens? Possibly not. He might go higher than us. But I would love for it to happen. Everybody else is all backups. Ojolari didn't play much. Uche didn't play much. I don't ever want to see Pryor or Toth on my offensive line ever again. Uncle Rockwell didn't play a single snap for us this year. Keelan Granson was good, but BVS will be back. BVS will be back come next year. Ben Van Sumeren. And he'll play the fullback role for us, kind of like how Keelan Granson was this year. Marcus Epps can go. Calc can go because he's replacement level. Dory Jackson can go because we're going to get a number 2 corner. Ojolari, he had some snaps, didn't really do much, and Sam Howell was just our third string quarterback. So, yeah, I'm fine with everybody else going. So, I'm going to give reasons why I want my other 3 guys back. Jalen Phillips, since coming over from Miami at the deadline, was absolutely phenomenal for us. I think a full season of him and Nolan Smith and a healthy Jalen Carter will be deadly. And then you throw in Jalix Hunt, like that whole, give that defense a whole season together, a whole off season together. It's gonna be filthy. Nakobe Dean, I mean, man, it's tough because we just drafted Jihad Campbell. Probably for the thought process of, we're most likely going to lose Nakobe Dean in the offseason because we can't afford him. But I would love Nakobe Dean back. You're telling me if we run a 4-3 with Vic, you're or even a 3-4. I mean, you're telling me that you can't find a way with someone as smart as what Vic Fangio is. We can't find a way to get Bond, Dean, and Campbell on the field at the same time. We absolutely can. So I would just love Nakobe Dean to come back. I think he'll take a pay cut to stick with the Georgia boys too. So I'm not too worried about that. Jahan Dotson. Oh, I feel like I got to sneeze. Ooh. Ooh. He's a wide receiver number 3, and yes, it's a depth piece, but Jahan, when he needed to make a play this year, he made plays. And he doesn't get many catches for the Eagles. Absolutely not. But he made a ton of plays. Plus, shout out Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Rival high school of mine. And plus, I want Jahan Dotson on the team, man. I was trying to get a picture with Jahan and Saquon last year. I wanted to get one with Jahan and Saquon last year at the Super Bowl parade with the boys from the Valley. But yeah, it didn't happen. I wasn't close enough. So, but yeah, Jahan made plays when he needed to, man. I mean, I'm not upset about keeping Jahan. I think we can get him back for a pretty decent deal. Braden Mann, I mean, arguably one of the better punters in the NFL. Keep that man on the fucking team, bro. Keep him on the team. And I promise we'll be good. And then Fred Johnson, while he did play rough at certain spots throughout the year, Fred Johnson is a very good swing tackle. So basically, swing tackle is someone who comes in, can play either side, depending on injuries, or we could always play him at guard. I would not be against Fred Johnson coming back. He's a vibes kind of guy. He's one of those guys, keeps the vibes high and keeps everything going. Another thing is, if we can get him, bring back Mekhi Becton, man. Bring back Mekhi Becton. Make me happy. Bring back the big ticket. Bring him back to Philadelphia. He loved being in Philly. He still loves Philly. We would welcome Mekhi Becton back with open arms, man. We essentially helped revive his career. He had a bad year in Los Angeles. Bring him back. Bring him home, baby. Bring him home, Howie. But yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at. Some of the, initial guys that I would like to see us maybe go out and get if we decide to let Goddard go. Go out and get Kyle Pitts. I think we're also going to be more of a 12 personnel team this year anyways, with running McVay, Shanahan kind of offense. So I would expect to see 2 side ends. If we let Goddard go, I would be all for having a 3-headed monster of Pitts, Sadiq Bey, and Luke Musgrave. Those are kind of like my 3 rebuild tight end room kind of guys. I would love to see those 3 there. Go out and get Dylan Thieneman. If we can get Jennings Dunker, just make something happen. But yeah, if we can get Jennings Dunker, I'd be pretty happy with that. But yeah, pretty much everyone else can go except for Phillips, Dean, Dotson, Mann, and Fred Johnson. Everybody else I'm fine with seeing go. And then obviously we have to see what's going on with Landon and what's going on with our big man Lane. Paved the lane. But yeah, guys, that's kind of it's kind of the weekly recap. Not much going on this week. It's been a pretty quiet week all in all. I mean, unless we want to talk about the fact that James Pierce Jr. is getting slapped with a assault charge against Rakia Jackson for felony stalking and domestic abuse. Or do we want to talk about Deron Lee getting smacked with major charges, or Stephon Diggs pleading not guilty to his domestic violence charge? No, I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to go into detail about that because I'm not going to talk on something that is a vibe killer. We'll keep it all about that. I'm not going to, unless it's an Eagles player, I won't talk about another player's accusations or anything along those lines. Not like I really have to worry about that because my guys from the Birds actually know how to behave. Um, but yeah, that's almost all about gonna do it. Surprisingly, pitchers and catchers reported this week. Yeah, this week for baseball. Pitchers and catchers are coming back. I know the Phillies just cut ties with Nick Castellanos. If you guys don't know, I'm a Yankees fan. I know a little weird that I'm an Eagles fan and a Yankees fan, but NBA trade deadline kind of passed and went about 8 days ago, so nothing too crazy if I remember correctly. No, there were definitely some moves. Jaren Jackson Jr. to the Jazz. Um, there were some other things. I don't follow the NBA too much. It is All Star Weekend this weekend though for the NBA, so I don't follow the NBA too much anymore. The Bulls suck, and the Phillies are kind of weird. The Phillies, the Sixers are a little weird. So I don't really follow basketball. I'm gonna be honest with you. I play 2K. That's about it. I've actually been like really digging my career this year. I don't know. I feel like the way that they've like shrunk down the city and everything, I feel like it kind of plays. It just feels better. It feels better. And I've been getting to like really like fussing around with like archetype builds and everything. So been having a lot of fun doing that. But yeah. So yeah, NBA All Star Game pitchers and catchers reported. Started reporting this week. Um, Tigers signed Justin Verlander, so JV is going back to where it all started. He'll probably be playing his last year this year, and we'll have to see. Um, my Yankees stayed stagnant. We're basically running it back. I don't understand why. Didn't do shit last year. We're just gonna run it back and do the same thing. Yep, it's fucking insanity. There hasn't been a we've had one really good season since 2009, and it's been rough. It's been rough. I mean, you can't really say anything more because the Phillies have kind of been in the same stagnant shithole as well. One good season since 2008. Nothing else. I mean, at least Aaron Judge is there to entertain. Dodgers continue to break baseball, because no other team wants to fucking spend money. They need to put something in there to make these goddamn owners spend money. Need to do something about it because, yeah, teams like the Pirates are going to end up losing guys like Paul Skeens and Jared Jones and O'Neill Cruz and Spencer Horwitz, whoever else they develop, because a team like the Dodgers is going to swoop in and give them a stupid amount of money. So we need to do something to make baseball owners start spending money more, because a lot of these guys are multi-billionaires and, just decide like, yeah, we're not going to spend any money. If it's not for the Mets owner, who else is going to spend money? Because, the Mets and Dodgers seem to be the only teams that want to spend money. And actually this year the Blue Jays did too. They brought in Dylan Cease. He was kind of the first domino to fall. Scooble's not going anywhere, but Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner of the Yankees continue to just give me the agita. And at least I know one of my teams won't hurt me. Because, like I said, I don't really follow basketball. Bulls suck. We're in a constant state of, mid. But maybe not anymore, because we got rid of Vucevic. So, maybe not anymore. World Baseball Classic starts soon, too. I think, honestly, the Dominican Republic's lineup looks really good. They just don't have pitching. Whereas, Team Japan's going to be good, like always. However, Shohei's not pitching this year, so that's gonna be different. I think the U.S. all in all is the best team in general. You know, top to bottom, we're arguably the most talented. I'll be interested to watch the Italian team too from Italy. Um, you know, Jack Caglione and Vinny Pasquantino, the big Italians on Kansas City. That'll be fun to watch because that'll kind of be like a glimpse into what we possibly can see. You know, for Kansas City. But I mean, Team USA is just absolutely stacked. I mean, Judge, Henderson, Witt, um, Bryce Harper, Mike Trout. I mean, bro, the list just goes on and on. I don't even remember all the stars on the team. And our pitching's loaded. Skubal, Skeens. I mean, bro, do you know how disgusting that is? Especially because it's single elimination, and you have to sit there and be like, all right, we got a plan to either pitch against the back-to-back reigning Cy Young winner in Tarek Skubal, who can go 9 innings like it's nothing, or we have to pitch against the guy who had a sub-2 ERA last year and throws a 102-mile-an-hour fastball with wiggle. Like, like, brother, that is just absolutely disgusting to think about. Oh yeah, and did I mention that Skubal can pound high 90s too? Like, I mean, brother, it's a nasty rotation, bro. It's so fucking gross. But yeah, I mean I think that's actually gonna do it, man. I said right around 30 to 45 minutes. Said there wasn't much on the docket to talk about this week because like franchise tags haven't even happened yet. Coaching has kind of went down. I mean, Clint Kubiak signed a 5-year deal, I'm pretty sure, with the Raiders. Seems like he's going to be a cool guy for Vegas, so we'll have to see. Um, but yeah, I mean, I really don't have much more else to go over this week. Next week will be interesting because a lot of things are going to kind of cool down a little bit. I'm sure Clint Kubiak's going to get his staff brought in. Mike LaFleur hasn't really started hiring coaches yet either, so it'll be interesting to know what happens. Yeah, I mean, I think in general, next week's going to be kind of a bear episode too. So probably during the off season, or at least until the combine happens, we can kind of these episodes will be a little bit shorter, just be like half an hour, 45 minutes, stuff like that. Unless like once franchise tags start popping off and it's just all like boom, 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 or trades start happening, or stuff like that. We'll have to see. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this episode, guys. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I'm gonna catch you all in the next one. See ya.